This call is now being recorded.
Okay. So in the yesterday's lecture, we have started with the chapter number 2, that is strain energy and the impact load. And in the last lecture, we have discussed about the introduction related to the strain energy, how the strain energy is developed in the body if that body is subjected to the external load. So what happened? Due to the load applied on that particular body, that load has done some amount of work on that particular body. If there is no any load, no work done will be taking place, no energy stored in that particular body, and no any deformation is taking place. But if the body is subjected to the external load, due to that external load, that load will done some amount of work on that particular body, therefore some amount of energy it will get stored in that particular body, and at the same time the deformation is taking place, and whatever the amount of energy is stored due to the external load, that energy is called as a strain energy. And related to that, we have discussed about the simple example of the strain energy. We have taken the example of coil spring. If the load is applied on the coil spring, that spring it will get compressed, means the amount of energy stored in that particular spring. If I will release the load, that spring regain to its original position, means whatever the amount of energy stored, it will get released. So this is the simple example of the strain energy. And the amount of energy stored in any body, it depends on types of loading, whether that load is applied is the axial load, or whether it is shear, or whether that body is under the torsion, or whether that body is under the bending. So these are the 4 conditions which are related to the amount of energy stored in that particular body. But in addition to that, the another three important parameters are also plays very important role to check the how much amount of energy is stored in that particular body. That is, first one is a gradually applied load, second suddenly applied load, and third one is a impact load. If the body is subjected to the gradually applied load, how much amount of energy stored, how much amount of stress developed, we are having a one small derivation. Similarly, if the body is subjected to the suddenly applied load as well as impact load, at that time how much amount of energy is stored in that particular body, and at the same time how much amount of stress is developed due to the sudden load and due to the impact load, that parameters we have to calculate. But before that, first of all, we have to derive the derivations. And yesterday we have solved one derivation, which is the basic derivation, which is called as the strain energy in the body which is subjected to the axial load. And whatever the load is applied on that particular rod, whatever the body we have considered, that body will be a circular rod, and that rod is subjected to the gradually applied load of P. So gradually applied load means the load is increases from 0 to maximum point in stepwise condition. If the load is applied from 0 to maximum load in stepwise condition, that load is called as a gradually applied load. Means if I have to apply the 50 kilonewton maximum force, so I will start from 0, then 10 kilonewton, then 20, then 30, then 40, and then 50. That means slowly I have increased that particular load, and due to the each and every load there is a deformation taking place. So that gradually increasing load is represented by this particular inclined line in the second figure, and due to that you will get one area. That area is the right angle triangle. And as we know that whatever the amount of energy stored in that particular body, it is calculated by using the work done condition. So energy stored in the body is equal to work done, which is equal to area under the curve. That means we have to consider the area of right angle triangle. So we have taken the 1/2 h into L, then that height and length we have kept, then by the value of P we have kept as a sigma into A, that delta L we have kept the PL upon AE, and then by changing the conditions we have calculated the work done is equal to sigma square upon 2E. So this is the last formula we have calculated, that is equation number 4, sigma square upon 2E into volume, which is equal to work done. But as we know that the strain energy capital U is equal to work done, therefore the strain energy, that is capital U, is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume. So this is the final equation which represents the strain energy stored in the body. Now we are having the second derivation, that is stress due to gradually applied load. What is the statement of the first derivation? That is stress due to gradually applied load. If your body or if member, if it is subjected to the gradually applied load, then how the stress developed in that particular body, it will be calculated. That stress formula we have to define here. But before that, just we have to discuss about that. What is meant by the gradually applied load? Just now also we have discussed, and once again I'm telling the definition. When the load is increases from 0 to maximum value or maximum point. When the load is increases from 0 to maximum value or maximum point in stepwise condition, that load is called as a gradually applied load. Now here the first figure represents one circular rod is there. Okay, it is subjected to the P amount of external force, but whatever this P amount of force is applied, that P will be considered as a gradually applied load. Means the load is started from 0 point and it will be increased up to the maximum limit. So let us assume that this maximum limit I can consider it as a 60 kilonewton. So if I have to apply the gradually applied load up to the 60 kilonewton, I am not applying from 0 to direct 60 kilonewton. I have to increase that particular load in stepwise condition. That means from 0, I will increase the 5 kilonewton, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, and this is the last point, that is this topmost point represents the maximum value of that particular load. And why this particular inclined line is generated? Because as the load is continuously increases, at the same time the deformation is also goes on increasing. If load is applied 5 kilonewton, so this is the 5 kilonewton load, this is the deformation due to the 5 kilonewton. Then if I will increase the load up to the 20, so this is the horizontal line of 20 kilonewton and this is the inclined line which represents the deformation due to the 20 kilonewton. Then if I will apply the load of 50 kilonewton, so this horizontal line represents the 50 kilonewton and this vertical distance, it represents the deformation. Similarly, this topmost point represents the maximum load applied on this particular rod and this vertical distance represents the total deformation taking place. That means 0 to P, this is the maximum load applied, and 0 to delta L, this is the maximum deformation taking place due to the maximum load. Therefore, this inclined line represents the load applied in the gradual condition. Okay, for that purpose, our further derivation part, consider one circular bar which is subjected to the external load P, and that load will be considered as a gradually applied. So what happened if this rod is subjected to the P amount of external force? That rod is subjected to the some amount of stress, and that sigma we have to calculate. The formula of the sigma we have to derive, that is sigma is equal to maximum stress induced in the rod. Maximum stress induced in the rod. Okay, now what happened if this P amount of force is applied? The deformation of this particular rod is taking place, means this load has done some amount of work in this particular body, and due to that work done or due to that particular extension, some amount of energy is also stored in this particular rod. How much amount of energy? That is U, capital U amount of energy is stored in that particular body. Therefore, if I have to calculate the strain energy, I am having the formula, that is strain energy is equal to work done is equal to area under the curve. Therefore, here I will write strain energy is equal to work done. That load has done some amount of work, therefore work done is equal to area under the curve. Area under the curve. That means if I have to calculate the work, I can use this particular work done. If I have to calculate the work done, then I can use this particular area under the curve for the calculation of work done. Okay, so now I will focus on the work done is equal to area under curve is equal to. Now from this particular second figure, whatever the graph is there, inclined line, from this particular figure, I got the cross-sectional area in the form of right angle triangle. And in the yesterday's derivation also we have discussed the formula for the right angle triangle is 1/2 height into length. This is the formula to find out the cross-sectional area of the right angle triangle. Therefore, work done is equal to 1/2 is the constant parameter. What is the height of this particular maximum point? What is the height? So this height means from this particular 0 point to your vertical distance. This 0 point to your vertical distance means your height will be represented by the capital P, that is external load, into deformation. Deformation means from this particular 0 point, how much amount of maximum deformation is taking place for the maximum load? This is the delta L amount of deformation is taking place due to the maximum load. Though it means this particular rod is subjected to the maximum load P, and due to that particular P amount of maximum load, delta L amount of maximum deformation is taking place. Therefore, work done is equal to 1/2 into P into delta L. We know that delta L is equal to PL upon A. So in front of that, I will write down that is delta L is equal to PL upon A. So this equation we have written, and this second term we have taken from the figure, that is H we have taken as a capital P and L we have taken it as a delta L. Okay, and then this delta L can be replaced in the form of PL upon A. Delta L is equal to PL upon AE, means I can write the same equation, that is work done is equal to 1/2 into P into sigma L upon E. Why sigma L? Because we know that sigma is equal to P upon A. Because in this particular formula, which PL upon AE, in this particular formula, P upon A, this parameter is present, and we know that sigma upon, that is P upon A, is called as a stress. That is stress is equal to force upon area. Therefore, this P upon A term is replaced by the sigma. Therefore, your equation becomes work done is equal to 1/2 as it is, this P as it is, this P upon A is replaced in the form of sigma. Therefore, you will get the sigma, this length as it is, divided by capital E, means sigma L upon E. Okay, so this is the work done we have calculated. Now we are having strain energy. Yesterday we have derived the formula. Strain energy is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume. Sigma square upon 2E into volume. This formula already we have derived in the yesterday's lecture. Therefore, as per the condition, that is strain energy is equal to work done. Strain energy is equal to work done. What is the strain energy in that particular rod? Yesterday we have calculated, that is sigma square upon 2E into volume. And what is the work done value we have calculated? That is work done is equal to 1/2 into P into sigma L upon E. 1/2 into P into sigma L upon E. Okay, now here, so the left hand side and right hand side, at the left hand side sigma square is present, at right hand side only one sigma is there. Therefore, from both sides one sigma, it will get cancelled. Similarly, at the left side, this 2E, 2 into E, it is present. Similarly, at the right side, 2 and E, it will remain present. Therefore, the remaining terms from left side, sigma square is there, only one sigma is cancelled. Therefore, sigma into V is equal to, this 2 is already cancelled, here E cancel, sigma is cancelled, only term is remaining P into L. Therefore, sigma is equal to, you know that volume is equal to, for the circular cross section, if I have to calculate the volume, therefore volume is equal to area into length is equal to P into L. Again, at the left side, length is there. At the right side, length is there. Therefore, length, it will get cancelled. And if I will write the equation in the form of sigma, therefore sigma is equal to P upon E. And this final formula, it represents the stress due to the gradually applied load. Means if your rod or if your member, if it is subjected to the external load P, and that load will be considered as a gradually applied load, then their stress value can be calculated by using the formula, that is sigma is equal to P into A. So whatever the formula we are using in the previous lectures or in the previous chapter, that is stress is equal to force upon area, means whatever the load we have considered for that particular numericals, that load will be considered as a gradually applied load. Means it is increases from 0 to maximum value or maximum point in stepwise condition. It is not applied immediately. It is applied gradually, means slowly that load has been applied. And for that, if the load is subjected to the gradually applied load, and if I have to calculate the stress, then I can use this particular formula, that is stress is equal to force upon area, which is equal to sigma is equal to P upon A. So this is the first derivation which is related to the stress due to the gradually applied load. Now, if we are solving the numericals based on this particular chapter, so in the statement of your numericals, the word is mentioned that the load applied on the member is subjected to the gradually applied load. Then I have to use this particular stress formula. The load subjected or load applied on that particular body is subjected to the suddenly applied load. If that suddenly word is mentioned in that particular problem, I have to use the stress formula for the suddenly applied load. If impact or height, if these two words are mentioned in the statements, then we have to say that this particular numerical is based on the third type, that is stress due to the impact load. If the gradually applied or this gradually word, if it is mentioned in the statement, then you have to decide that this particular numerical is based on the stress calculation related to the gradually applied load. Means I have to use this formula, that is sigma is equal to P upon A. So this is the first derivation which we have discussed. In the yesterday's derivation, we have derived the formula for the strain energy, and same formula we have utilized here for the calculation of stress. Here the work done is calculated by using the area under the curve, that is 1/2 H into L. Value of H will be the P, value of L will be the delta L. Delta L is replaced by PL upon AE. Again, this P upon A is replaced by sigma. Okay, then finally work done is compared with the strain energy, and already we are having the amount of strain energy stored in that particular load. What is that particular formula? Sigma square upon 2E into volume. Therefore, the strain energy is taken at the left side, work done is taken at the right side. Whatever the terms are common at the left side as well as at the right side, all the terms are cancelled. Then the volume of the circular section means area into length. Area means pi by 4 d square into length. The product of this area into length will be considered as a volume of the circular section. And again, this length, it will get cancelled from the both sides, and you will get the final equation in the form of sigma is equal to P upon A. So this is the first derivation. Have you understood this particular derivation? Yes? समझे कैसा आले derivation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope everyone has understood. Anybody is having any problem? Try to give the replies in the chat box so I can go further. So try to take this particular derivations in your notebook. Don't look at the screen only. Try to draw this particular figure in your notebook. Take or write this particular derivation in the notebook, so it will be better to you for the more understanding. I will provide the notes, no problem, but it is your responsibility to take this particular part in your notebook also, so you can understood very easily while studying this particular parts at your home. So While solving the derivation, just understand it and simultaneously you can write in your notebook. Stress due to the gradually applied load, which is applied on the circular cross section. I will give 1 or 2 minutes. Try to take this particular part in your notebook, so you can understood very easily. So start your writing in your notebook. I will give 1 or 2 minutes. Then we will start with the next derivation. If we'll derive the second derivation for the suddenly applied load, then you will get the difference of stress formula. What will be the formula for the gradually applied load and what will be the formula for the suddenly applied load? The stress for gradually applied load, stress for the suddenly applied load, and stress for the impact load. All the three formulas are different because we are changing the loading condition. Therefore, the stress formulas are also different. Take this particular part in your notebook. Okay, so I hope everyone has taken this particular part in your notebook for your study purpose. Okay, now we'll move to the next derivation, that is stress due to the suddenly applied load. Stress due to the suddenly applied load. Now what is meant by the suddenly applied load? Gradually we have discussed if the load is increases from 0 to maximum point in stepwise condition, then that load will be the gradually applied load. Then what is meant by the suddenly applied load? When the load is applied on body in sudden condition, then body get deforms immediately. When the load applied on the body in sudden condition and immediately there is a deformation of body, then that particular load is called as a suddenly applied load. In gradually what we have done, we have increased the load from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, like that. We have increased the load, therefore we got the inclined line. That means for each and every load, we have calculated the deformation. Whatever that inclined line is there in this particular gradually applied load, that inclined line represents the load is increases in the gradual condition. But if you look at this particular figure, that is suddenly applied load. Suddenly applied means the load is applied within fraction of second. The load is applied within fraction of second and immediately there is a deformation is taking place. For example, if I have to measure the weight of any vehicle, if I have to measure the weight of any vehicle, for example, if I have to measure the weight of that particular tractor which is filled by the sugarcane, so what I will do, I will take this particular tractor immediately on the weighing machine and I will measure it. It is not possible to take the tractor in slowly condition. If I will take this particular tractor in slowly condition, initially I will get the the weight of tractor, then after that I will get the weight of tractor plus trolley number 1. Then after some times I will get the weight of tractor plus 2 trolleys. It is not possible to measure the load in this particular condition. If I have to measure the weight, immediately I will take this particular vehicle on the weighing machine and immediately that weighing machine will give the load. Similarly, the suddenly applied load means if the load applied on the body is suddenly, then immediately within fraction of second there is a deformation taking place. Therefore, in this particular figure, if you see this 0 point represents this point represents the zero load. That is zero load applied on this particular figure. If I will apply the load immediately there is a load applied, therefore maximum point. This is the maximum load point and immediately there is a deformation taking place. in the previous condition or in the previous derivation, there is a inclined line, because that inclined line represents the load is increases in the gradual condition. But here you will get the area under the curve in the form of rectangular section, because from this particular 0 point I have increased the load in suddenly condition. That means from 0 directly I have increased up to the 60 kilonewton. What that particular graph represents, from this particular 0 point directly I have increased the load up to the 60 kilonewton. There is no 10 kilonewton, 20, 30, 40, 50. From 0 to direct 60 kilonewton load is applied, means whatever the load is applied, that load will be considered as a suddenly applied load. And due to this maximum point P point represents the suddenly applied load, which represents from 0 to in vertical direction, and from this 0 to delta L, it represents the deformation due to the suddenly applied load. And if I will join all these particular points, we'll get the area under the curve in the form of rectangular or in the form of square section. Therefore, here whatever the load is applied on that particular body, that load will be considered as a capital P, that is external load, means suddenly applied load. Similarly, due to that suddenly applied load, this sigma represents the maximum stress induced. Maximum stress induced in that particular body. And this capital P represents the suddenly applied load. Capital P represents the suddenly applied load. And if this P amount of force is applied on that particular body, that P will done some amount of work on that particular body, and at the same time some amount of energy is also stored in the same body. Means whatever the P amount of suddenly applied load is there on that particular body, due to this P, work is done on that particular body, as well as amount of energy is also stored in that particular body. Therefore, once again I am having the formula, that is strain energy is equal to work done is equal to area under the curve. Area under the curve. So initially I have to calculate the work done. Therefore, work done is equal to area under curve. Area under the curve. That is for rectangular section. Whatever the area under the curve we got, this is the rectangular section. In the previous case, the area under the curve is available in the form of right angle triangle. Here, due to the suddenly applied load, we get the area under the curve in the form of rectangular section. Therefore, work done is equal to what is the area under the curve? What is the area under the curve? What will be the cross sectional area for the rectangular section? Partial cross sectional. What will be the area under the curve? Yes, what is the formula? Formula, basic formula, length into height. Length into height. We can consider it as a L into B. L is the horizontal distance and B is the vertical distance. That means area under the curve, which is equal to work done, which is equal to L into B. Therefore, work done is equal to this. L means your deformation, that is delta L, and B means your capital P, that is vertical distance is represented by B, and in the graph also this vertical height is represented by the capital P, and this horizontal line or horizontal deformation is represented by the delta L. Therefore, work done is equal to P into delta L from the figure. I have written this particular part from the figure. Then work done is equal to P into PL upon A. That is delta L is equal to PL upon AE. So whatever the delta L term is present, that delta is replaced in the form of PL upon AE. And in addition to that, we are having the one more formula, that is work done is equal to this P is as it is, that is sigma L upon E. Because in case of a delta L, that is sigma is equal to P upon A. In the previous equation, P into PL upon A. In this particular PL upon A, again P upon A term is present. So this particular P upon A term is replaced by the sigma, because stress is equal to force upon area. And in the second step, I have written this P is as it is. Due to this P upon A, I have written sigma. Therefore, you will get the equation in the form of sigma L upon E. So this is the work done. Again, but strain energy is equal to work done. Strain energy is equal to work done. And already we are having the strain energy formula. What formula? Sigma square upon 2E into volume. This is the strain energy formula, which is equal to work done. Work done already we have calculated, it is P into sigma L upon E. So this is the work done formula. Again, we'll cancel the term from the left side and the right side. So at the numerator, at the left side, sigma square is present. At the right side, only one sigma is there. Similarly, at the bottom side, capital E is there. Here also, capital E is there. The two, it will not be cancelled. In the previous case, it will get cancelled. So you will get the equation in the form of sigma upon T2 into volume, which is equal to P into length. Sigma here at the left side, sigma square is there. One sigma is cancelled. So one sigma is remaining, sigma divided by 2 as it is. This volume as it is. At the right side, only sigma and E will get cancelled. Remaining terms P into L as it is. Now again we are having formula sigma by 2 is equal to volume is equal to area into length, which is equal to P into length. Again at the left side and the right side, this L is present, so it will get cancelled. And if I will write the equation in the form of sigma, therefore sigma upon 2 is equal to P upon A. This A I have taken at the right side, and therefore sigma is equal to 2P upon E. This is the final formula for the stress due to the suddenly applied load. And if I will compare the stress formula for the gradually applied load and stress formula for the suddenly applied load, for the gradually applied load, the formula is sigma is equal to P upon A. And for the suddenly applied load, sigma is equal to 2P upon A. And if I will compare these both equations, I can easily say that stress due to suddenly applied load is twice than stress due to gradually applied load. So sigma is equal to P upon A. This is the formula for the gradually applied load. Sigma is equal to 2P upon A. This is the formula for the suddenly applied load. If I will compare these both equations to each another, I can say that stress due to suddenly applied load is twice than stress due to the gradually applied load. So these are the two formulas for the gradually applied load and the suddenly applied load. And in the practically also, we can say that if I will increase the load gradually, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 50, 50 to 60, accordingly, stress is also increases in gradual condition. But if I will apply the load suddenly, means from 0 point, if directly I will apply the 100 kilonewton force, so immediately the stress will be developed, and that stress will be maximum as compared to the gradually applied load. म्हणजे तुम्ही जर stress force slowly apply केला तर slowly condition मध्येच तुमचा stress काय होणार आहे, डेव्हलप होणार आहे, आणि तो किती असणार आहे, P upon A. पण मी इमिडिएटली 0 पासून डायरेक्टली जर मी 100 किलोन्यूटनचा फोर्स जर अप्लाय केला, then if I will apply immediately 100 kilonewton force, immediately I will get the stress for the 100 kilonewton. पण त्या 100 kilonewton मुळे आलेल्या स्ट्रेसची व्हॅल्यू ही ऑब्व्हियसली ग्रॅज्युअली अप्लाइड केलेल्या लोड पेक्षा काय असणार आहे, मॅक्सिमम असणार. त्यामुळे फॉर्म्युलेमध्ये काय झालंय, सिग्मा इज इक्वल टू 2P अपॉन A, मीन्स 2 times it is maximum than the gradually applied load. Therefore, final statement by comparing the equations, stress due to suddenly applied load is twice than stress due to the gradually applied load. Why this particular condition is taking place? Because area under the curve is different. In the previous condition, area under the curve is available in the form of right angle triangle, that is 1/2 h into L. And here the area under the curve is available in the form of rectangular section, that is h into L or L into B. So that 2 is not there in this particular suddenly applied condition. Therefore, we got the final equation in the form of sigma is equal to 2p upon A, and the another formula is the sigma is equal to P upon A. Means stress due to the suddenly applied load is twice or 2 times more than stress due to the gradually applied load. So this is the basic difference between the stress due to the gradually applied load and stress due to the suddenly applied load. Whatever the procedure we have followed for both the derivations, the procedure is same. Strain energy is equal to work done is equal to area under the curve. So initially we have calculated work done for both the derivations according to their area under the curve. For first section, right angle triangle, we have calculated work done which is equal to strain energy. Whatever the terms are cancelled, I have cancelled it, and finally I have written the equation in the form of sigma. Similarly here, I have calculated work done, final equation of the work done, then again strain energy is equal to work done. Strain energy formula already we have derived in the previous lecture. That strain energy is compared with the work done. Whatever the terms are cancelled from the both sides, it is cancelled. The volume is replaced in the form of area into length. Again, that length, it will get cancelled from the both sides. And again, I have written the equation in the form of sigma, which is equal to 2p upon A. So this is the two derivations related to the gradually applied load and the suddenly applied load. Have you getting this particular part? Second derivation also, it is very simple. Yes, anybody is having any problem to understand this particular derivation? Try to take this particular derivation in your notebook. So I will take 1 or 2, I will give the 1 or 2 minutes. Yes, have you understood? If you have not understood, please ask. I will explain the things once again. Try to give the reply in the chat box. So I will get the answer that is you have understood the things, whatever I am explaining. So please try to take this particular derivation in your notebook. Put the title stress due to the suddenly applied load. Draw the figure. Find out the work done by using the formula area under the curve from the figure. Then compare that particular work done with the strain energy equation, cancel the terms and write down the final equation in the form of sigma. So please take this particular derivation in your notebook. Draw the figure fast, write down some unknown parameters, sigma, P, then formula strain energy is equal to work done is equal to area under the curve. Then work done is equal to area under the curve. Find that value. All the derivation part I have written in front of you. I hope everyone is taking it in your notebook. Okay, so this is the first part, then this is the second part. Strain energy is equal to work done. Compare both the equations and write down the final in the form of sigma. Sigma is equal to 2p upon A, and after this particular sigma is equal to 2p upon A, write down the statement. Stress due to suddenly applied load is twice, like underline twice, than stress due to gradually applied load. Stress due to gradually applied load. Okay, this statement is very important. Stress due to the suddenly applied load is twice than stress due to the gradually applied load. And from these equations also we can get this particular part. Sigma is equal to P upon A and sigma is equal to 2P upon A. Okay. So this is the second derivation, stress due to the suddenly applied load. Okay, I hope everyone has taken this particular part in your notebook for your understanding. Try to prepare the notebook for our subject. At the end, when the college is started during the submission, I will check this particular part in your notebook while coming for the submission. So please prepare the separate notebook. Okay. Now this is the last derivation, that is stress due to the impact load. Stress due to the impact load. Stress due to the impact load. Now we have discussed about the gradually applied load, means load is increases slowly in stepwise condition. So this is gradually. Suddenly applied load means suddenly load is applied, immediately deformation is taking place. That is suddenly applied load. But what is meant by the impact load? Impact load means when the load is applied on body is fall from certain height. I will repeat, whatever the load is applied on the body is fall from certain height. That load is called as a impact load. That means initially there is no any contact between that particular movable load or that particular load on which it is to be applied. If I have to strike, or if I have to fall, or if I have to strike any component from certain height, so initially there is no any contact between that particular loading point and for that particular another figure on which it will be strike. By ज्यांना आपल्याला लोड अप्लाय करायचा आहे त्याच्यामध्ये आणि ज्याच्यावर आपल्याला लोड अप्लाय करायचा आहे त्याच्यामध्ये इनिशियली कॉन्टॅक्ट नाही. अशा ठिकाणी जर इफ the load applied on the body is falling from certain height, आपण दगड जर हातामध्ये घेतला आणि तो जर वरून फेकला, it will be strike on the bottom ground. So that particular load will be considered as a impact load. That means initially there is no any contact between that particular load and that particular body. If that particular load is fall from certain height and if it is strike on the another component, that load will be considered as a impact load. किंवा आपण बॉल घेतो आणि भिंतीवर जोरात आदळतो, so that will be also considered as a impact load. Means there is initially, if I will strike that particular ball on that particular wall, so initially there is no any contact between that particular wall and your ball, and if I will strike it, immediately that ball will be strike on that particular window, and whatever the load is applied on that particular wall, that load will be considered as a impact load. So simple definition, when the load applied on body is fall from certain height, that load will be considered as a impact load. And to explain that particular part or to explain that particular derivation, here one rod is considered. So whatever the figure is represented in front of you, that is one rod is there, that rod is fixed at the top side. You can see here this hatching line, whatever it is presented at the top side, that hatching line represents this particular rod is fixed at the top side, and at the bottom side the collar is connected. You can see one rectangular section is there. Here this is the collar. At top side it is fixed and at the bottom side the collar is fixed, and on that particular rod one movable load is there. So here at the center point, again there is a one rectangular section which is represented by the hatching line. So here this is the rectangular section. It represents the movable load. That load can be movable on this particular vertical rod. So whatever the vertical rod is fixed at the top side, and at the bottom side one collar is attached, and on this particular rod this movable load is there. That movable load can be moved in a upward direction as well as in the downward direction. And initially whatever the length of the rod is there, that length of rod will be considered as a capital L. Okay, then initially there is a distance between the movable load P and collar which is fixed at the bottom side. How much amount of distance is there? That is H amount of distance is there in between this particular movable load and the collar. If this movable load will be strike on this particular collar, means this movable load is fall from certain height. How much amount of height is there? H amount of height is there. Then if it is strike on this particular collar, that particular load is called as a impact load, and due to this movable load it strikes on this particular collar, the deformation of collar is taking place in the downward direction. At the bottom side you can see deformation or deformed position of collar, which is represented by the dotted line. You can see at the bottom side whatever the cross-sectional area of the collar is there, same cross-sectional area is represented by the dotted line, and that dotted line represents the deformed position of the collar because this movable load is strike on that particular column. That means initially there is no any contact between this particular collar and this particular movable load. There is some distance or there is some height between them, and if that movable load is fall from certain height, and if it is strike on the collar, that load is called as the impact load, and due to that particular impact load the deformation of collar is taking place, which is represented at this particular bottom side in the form of dotted lines. Therefore in this particular figure, whatever the capital P is there, that capital P represents the movable load. Capital P represents the movable load. Then capital L is the length of rod. Capital L is the length of rod. Then capital A is equal to cross-sectional area of the rod. Then cross-sectional area of the rod, or we can consider it as a collar. Then H, small h, it represents the falling height. Falling height म्हणजे मुव्हेबल लोड जो काय कॉलरवर येऊन आदळणार आहे तर त्याची फॉलिंग हाईट किती आहे तर स्मॉल एच. देन डेल्टा एल इज इक्वल टू डिफॉर्मेशन ऑफ कॉलर विथ रॉड, बिकॉज कॉलर इज कनेक्टेड at the end of the rod. Therefore deformation of column with rod, and this sigma whatever we have to calculate, it represents the maximum stress induced in collar. Maximum stress induced in that particular collar. Okay, so these are the some parameters which we have to consider. If this movable load is strike on that particular collar, means that movable load has done some amount of work on that particular collar, and due to that only deformation is taking place. वरून जर ती मूव्हेबल प्लेट त्याच्यावर आदळीच नाही तर त्या कॉलर मध्ये कुठल्याच प्रकारची एनर्जी पण स्टोन होणार नाही आणि त्या कॉलरचं डिफॉर्मेशन पण होणार नाही. बट हियर ऍज पर द कंडिशन, इफ दिस मूव्हेबल लोड इज फॉल from certain height, then there is a deformation is taking place, means that movable load P has done some amount of work on that particular column. Therefore work done by the movable load, therefore work done by movable load, that is work done is equal to force into displacement. Here the area under the curve is not there. In the previous two figures we are having the area under the curve, that is right angle triangle, that is 1/2 h into L. Then for the second condition we are having the rectangular section, therefore work done is equal to L into B or L into H. But here for the impact load, there is no any second figure to take the work done from the area under the curve. But we are having the second standard formula of the work done, that is work done is equal to force into displacement. Work done is equal to force into displacement. Therefore, the total work done is equal to how much amount of force is applied, that is P amount of force is applied. How much amount of distance is traveled by this particular movable load, that is H plus delta L. Baga. Work done is equal to force into displacement. Force, that is movable force, is represented by the capital P into displacement. How much amount of distance is traveled by this particular movable load? First one is a H amount of distance, which represents the falling height, plus due to this movable load it strike on that particular column, the deformation of column is also taking place in the downward direction. Means that deformation is also in the downward direction, means this much amount of displacement is also carried by that particular movable load. म्हणजे H plus delta L, this represents the total distance traveled by this particular movable load. तर deformation झालं नसतं तर आपण फक्त distance काय घेतलं असतं तर small h. पण that collar is moving in the downward direction, means your movable load is also moving in the downward direction. कारण movable load strike झाल्यानंतरच collarचं deformation होणार आहे. Means it travels the amount of distance as a H plus delta L. Therefore, work done is equal to force into displacement. That force is represented by capital P, that is movable load, and displacement, distance traveled by the movable load, is the H plus delta L. So this is the work done formula. Then we are having the second formula as we have used for the previous two derivations, that is strain energy. Strain energy is equal to work done. Strain energy is equal to work done. So if I will use the formula sigma square upon 2E into volume is equal to work done, we have calculated P in bracket H plus delta L. Okay. Then sigma square upon 2E as it is volume, I can replace in the form of area into length, which is equal to P in bracket H plus delta L, means PL upon AE. Because as we know that delta L is equal to PL upon AE. Then in the PL upon AE, again P upon A term is there. So this P upon A means sigma. So again I can write sigma square upon 2E into area into length is equal to P in bracket H plus sigma, that is P upon A means sigma, L is as it is at the numerator divided by E is also as it is at the denominator, because sigma is equal to P upon A. Okay, so this is the equation. Now what I will do, this sigma square upon 2E into area into length as it is, this P is present outside the bracket, in bracket which are terms are there, H plus sigma L upon E. So I will multiply by this particular P to this particular bracket, so I will get the answer, that is P into H plus P into sigma into L divided by E. What I have done, this P I have multiplied to this particular bracket, so I will get P into H plus P into sigma into L divided by E. So I will write this particular equation in the form of AX square plus BX plus C. I will write this particular equation in the form of AX square plus BX plus C for our further derivation part. So what I will write, just see here, AL upon 2E into sigma square, okay, minus this is the PL upon E into sigma, right side last time काय आहे positive आहे, plus P into sigma into L divided by E. At the right side it is positive. If I will take this particular term at the left side, it becomes negative. Similarly, minus this P into H present at the right side, that is positive. If I will take it to the left side, it becomes minus pH is equal to 0. And in that, this particular sigma means your x square. This sigma means your only x. And this AL upon 2E means your A value means AX square. This PL upon AE means your B value. And this particular total value, which minus pH means your C value, means you are having the formula that is AX square plus BX plus C is equal to 0. A means AL upon 2E. X square means sigma square. PL upon E means your B term. Only sigma means your X. And this minus pH or pH means your C value. So I can write the values, that is A is equal to AL upon 2E. B is equal to minus PL upon AE. Minus sign is also there. Minus PL upon AE. Then C is equal to minus pH. A is the positive, B is the negative, and C is the again negative. So what I have done, I have written the equation, that is strain energy is equal to work done. Okay. Then in that particular equation, the delta L is replaced in the form of PL upon AE. In that PL upon AE, again that P upon A is replaced by the sigma. Okay. Then that volume is replaced by the A into length. Then this P I have multiplied inside the bracket. The P I have multiplied inside the bracket, and whatever the terms are present at the right side, all the terms I have taken to the left side, and I have written the equation in the form of AX square plus BX plus C is equal to 0. And then A value I have written separately, B value I have written separately with sign, C value I have also written separately with sign. Then to calculate the sigma, that is x is the value that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. From this particular equation, if I have to calculate the x value, means in our condition we have to calculate the sigma value, because sigma square means x square. Sigma means only x, and if I have to calculate the x, means if I have to calculate the sigma value, what will be the formula? Can anybody tell me? If this particular equation is given to you, then what will be the formula? X is equal to काय formula असतो? One mathematical formula is there. X is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. X is equal to, yes, ae upon 2e.
सर ते ची व्हॅल्यू चुकले का?
Yes, AL upon 2e.
EL.
AL 2e. A is equal to, small a is equal to AL upon 2e. So what will be the formula for the x calculation? Ax square plus bx plus c. If this equation is given to you, and if I have to calculate the x value, how to calculate it? Here x means our sigma formula. So we are having the formula sigma is equal to minus b plus minus in square root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. This formula or this value means your x value. So x is equal to minus b plus minus in square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. And now if I will put the values, so sigma is equal to, what is the value of b? Minus value is there, and this is the minus sign. Let's see here, minus sign as it is. The value of b, how much value is there? Minus pl upon a. So I will write minus pl upon e. This plus minus sign as it is in square root. What is the value of b? Once again, minus value is there. So inside the bracket, minus pl upon e, bracket square, because b square minus 4 as it is. Value of a, how much value of a is there? You can see here, value of a is equal to a into l upon 2e into value of c it is the negative value. How much? Minus P into H. So I will put minus P into H divided by 2A. 2 as it is. What is the value of A? That is AL upon 2E. Okay, this is the next step. We have put the value of A, B, C. Now sigma is equal to here minus B. This minus bracket च्या बाहेर पण minus आहे, आतमध्ये पण minus आहे. This term becomes plus. Therefore, PL upon E. Plus minus sign as it is. In square root. In square root, you can see here. In square root, what happened? Minus PL upon AE. Bracket square. Minus चा जर square केला, तर your answer is positive or negative? All the term is minus. Positive or negative? It is
Positive.
It is positive. Therefore, minus P चा square means you will get only P square. Minus L चा square means you will get the L square. Minus E चा square means you will get the E square. Here minus 4 and here minus PH. बघा minus 4 इथलं negative sign आहे आणि इथं PH ला पण काय आहे? Negative sign आहे. So due to this minus here you will get the plus sign. Okay, and the remaining terms, that is, you can see here the 4 is present at the denominator, 2 is present, so 2 ones are 1, 2 twos are 4. So you will get the final equation in the form of plus 2 into A into L into PH divided by E. Divided by, at the denominator side you can see here, denominator la kya hai? Denominator la this 2 it will get cancelled and only remaining AL upon E. What I have done? Minus B, minus I have taken plus minus sign as it is in square bracket or in square root. Minus PL square, PL minus PL upon E bracket square. So P square I have taken as it is, L square I have taken as it is, E square I have taken as it is. Then this minus 4 minus PH, minus it becomes plus. Okay. Then in this particular equation, at the numerator 4 is present, at the denominator 2 is present. So 2 ones are 1, 2 twos are 2. So I have written the numerator terms as it is, 2 into area into length into P into H divided by E. Similarly, at the denominator side, this 2 from the numerator, 2 from the denominator, it will get cancelled. Only term becomes AL upon E. Now, here we have to apply one condition, that is multiply by E upon AL to both numerator and denominator. This capital N means numerator and capital D means denominator. So whatever the equation we have calculated, this equation to this particular to this particular equation, we have to multiply by E upon AL to both numerator as well as at the denominator. So what the equation you will get, just see. This PL upon AE as it is, multiply by numerator ला पण multiply करायचं आहे, multiply by E upon AL plus minus sign as it is in square root. This P square L square upon E square as it is into, आता square root मध्ये जर E upon AL ला multiply करायचं असेल तर काय टर्म येणार? नुसतं E upon AL येणार का E square upon A square L square येणार? Yes, in the square root I have to multiply by E upon AL, but it is present in the square root, therefore inside the square root it is multiplied by E square upon A square into length square. त्याचा square root जर बाहेर असला असतं तर only E upon AL, but the term is present in the square root, therefore multiply by E square upon A square into length square. Plus sign as it is, then this 2 into A into L into PH divided by E, this term as it is, again multiply by E upon AL. So at the numerator we have multiply by EL. Similarly at the denominator also we have to multiply. So AL upon E, this is the previous term, and multiply by E upon AL. Okay, AL upon E, it is the previous term, and multiply by E upon AL. Now cancel the terms. So from the numerator you can see here. From the numerator you can see here. PL upon AE. Here PL upon AE. So in the first term, this E it will get cancelled. Similarly, this length it will get cancelled. Then in square bracket मध्ये जर गेला तर तुम्ही बघा here L square it will get cancelled. Then E square it will get cancelled. Similarly, in the square root after plus sign, this capital E it will get cancelled. Then here E square A square length square, कारण स्क्वेअर रूट मध्ये मल्टिप्लिकेशन स्क्वेअर रूट मध्ये जर मल्टिप्लाय करायचं असेल तर तुम्हाला E स्क्वेअर अपॉन A स्क्वेअर L स्क्वेअर न एनच मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागणार. Then E square from the numerator E square is there, at the denominator only one E is there, so one E it will get cancelled. Similarly A square 1A it will get cancelled. Then length square 1 length it will get cancelled, and from the denominator you can see AL it will get cancelled. Then capital E it will get cancelled. So what we have done, whatever the term we have multiplied E upon AL at the numerator and the denominator, due to this multiplication at the numerator and due to the multiplication at the denominator, whatever the constant terms are there, that constant terms we have cancelled. So you will get the final equation sigma is equal to, काय राहिलं बघा याच्यामध्ये, only P upon A is remaining. So P upon A plus minus square root मध्ये काय राहिलं बघा, only P square upon A square is remaining. First term P square upon A square, this plus sign as it is. इकडच्या बाजूला काय राहिलं बघा 2, this 2 is remaining, PH is remaining. इकडच्या वरच्या बाजूला E स्क्वेअर आहे त्यामुळे त्यातला एक E तुमचा राहिलेला असणार आहे. ओके, देन 2 into P into H into E divided by खालच्या बाजूला A स्क्वेअर आणि L स्क्वेअर होतं, एक कॅन्सल झालेला आहे, एक लेंथ कॅन्सल झालेला आहे. सो ओनली रिमेनिंग एरिया into length, and at the denominator side all the terms are cancelled. You can see at the denominator side all the terms are cancelled. Okay, now as stress is maximum, take positive. As stress is maximum, take positive sign. So whatever the plus minus sign is present here, as if your movable load is strike on that particular collar, so whatever the stress is induced in that particular collar, that stress will be maximum stress. Therefore we can take this particular from plus minus, we can take this positive sign. Therefore sigma is equal to, okay. Now from this particular term, if I will take P upon A, baga, outside the square root P upon A term is present, inside the square root P upon A term is also present. So if I will take this particular P upon A term as a constant, let us see, P upon A constant I have taken. So from this particular P upon A, if I will take outside, only one is remaining. Out of plus and minus sign, we have decided we have to take the positive. Therefore this plus sign as it is in square root, what happening, P square upon A square, square root मधला घेताना, स्क्वेअर रूट बाहेर घेताना ते P upon A ही टर्म घेऊनच ते काय होणार आहे, बाहेर कॉन्स्टंट पॅरामीटर येणार. जर ही व्हॅल्यू जर स्क्वेअर रूटची जर बाहेर असली असती कुठली, P square upon A square, if this value is outside the square root, it will be the P upon A, means if I will take this particular p square upon a square outside the square root, it will take as a common p upon a. Therefore, here also only 1 is remaining. That is 1 plus. But in this particular third term, p square upon a square term is not present. स्क्वेअर रूटच्या बाहेर p अपॉन a आहे, पण स्क्वेअर रूट मधली टर्म तुम्हाला p स्क्वेअर आणि a स्क्वेअर, p स्क्वेअर अपॉन a स्क्वेअर हाच रेशो असला पाहिजे. जर तसं नसेल तर व्हॉट वी हॅव टू डू, वी हॅव टू डिवाइड इट. 2 into h, 2 into p into h into e divided by al आणि divided by p square upon a square, because in this particular third term p square upon a square term is not present, therefore we have to divide by p square upon a square. P upon a is present, p upon a is present, but it is present in the square root. जर इथं पण p square आणि a square जर असला असता तर ह्या दोन्ही मधून आपण p upon a काय केला असता, कॉन्स्टंट बाहेर घेतला असता. पण स्क्वेअर रूट मध्ये एका ठिकाणीच p स्क्वेअर अपॉन a स्क्वेअर आहे, दुसरीकडे फक्त p अपॉन a आहे. तर ज्या ठिकाणी p अपॉन a आहे आणि जिथं p स्क्वेअर अपॉन a स्क्वेअर नाही तर त्या टर्मला आपण काय केले, डिवाइडेड बाय p स्क्वेअर अपॉन a स्क्वेअर. नाव मॉडिफाईड स्टेप, सिग्मा as it is p upon a as it is square bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2 into p into h into e divided by a into l into divided by p square upon a square. If that p square upon a square, if this term I will take at the numerator, it will becomes a square upon p square. खाली डिनॉमिनेटरला असताना टर्म काय, स्क्वेअर अपॉन स्क्वेअर. खाली डिनॉमिनेटरला असताना टर्म काय, p स्क्वेअर अपॉन a स्क्वेअर. जर ती जर टर्म मी वर न्यूमरेटरला घेतली तर ती चेंज होऊन काय येणार आहे, a स्क्वेअर अपॉन p स्क्वेअर. सो हियर वन्स अगेन सम टर्म्स इट विल गेट कॅन्सल. कुठल्या कुठल्या टर्म कॅन्सल होतात बघा. ह्याच्यामध्ये वरच्या बाजूला ओनली 1 p इज प्रेझेंट, खालच्या बाजूला p स्क्वेअर इज प्रेझेंट, 1 p इट विल गेट कॅन्सल. Similarly, at the numerator 1 a square is there, at the denominator 1 a is there, at denominator 1 a is there. So if I will write the final equation, sigma is equal to p upon a in square bracket 1 plus whatever the terms are cancelled, remaining terms 2 into h into a into e. वरच्या बाजूला a स्क्वेअर आहे, एक a कॅन्सल झाला, 1 a is remaining divided by remaining l into p. डिनॉमिनेटर असताना p स्क्वेअर आहे, एक p कॅन्सल झाला, only 1 p is remaining. Okay, so this is the next step. Now if I will write down this particular step once again for your understanding, p upon a in bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2 into h into 2 into h into a into e divided by l into p. Okay, now sigma is equal to p upon a as it is square root 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2 into h into ae divided by lp. Instead of writing the lp, I will write down the pl. Instead of writing the lp, I will write down the pl, and we know that pl upon ae, we know that delta l is equal to pl upon ae. Therefore 1 upon delta l is equal to ae upon pl. Delta l is equal to pl upon ae. If I will write down the same equation in the form of 1 upon delta l, that ae will be goes to the numerator, and this pl it will becomes to the denominator, and this ae into pl, this term is present in this particular above equation. So I will write sigma is equal to p upon a in square bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2h divided by PL upon AE. PL खालच्या बाजूला आहे, AE वरच्या बाजूला आहे, म्हणजे 2h upon delta L. So this is the sigma, that is stress due to the impact load. So this is the sigma, that is stress due to the impact load. So derivation is lengthy, but it is very simple. Derivation is lengthy, but it is very simple. So what we have done, just once again I am repeating, this is a figure in front of you in which it consists of a one rod which is fixed at the top side, at the bottom side collar is attached, and on that particular rod one movable load is there, and there is no contact between the movable load and collar, means there is a certain height or a certain distance, that is h amount of certain distance is there. So what happens if that particular movable load it strikes on the collar, immediately deformation is taking place, and that deformation is represented by the bottom dotted line. So this P represents the movable load, capital L is the length of rod, A is the cross sectional area, H is the falling height, delta L is the deformation, and sigma is your maximum stress induced in the collar. And we have to calculate the work done, because that movable load has done some amount of work on the collar, due to which deformation is taking place. Therefore, work done is equal to, here area under the curve, this term is not here, or that graphical nature is not here, but we are having another work done formula. Which one? Work done is equal to force into displacement. But how much amount of force is applied on the collar? P amount of force. Or what is the quantity of movable load? Capital P. Into multiply by displacement. How much amount of distance traveled by the movable load? So initial distance is falling height h, and due to that movable load strike on the column or collar, delta L amount of deformation is taking place. That means h plus delta L, it represents the total displacement of the movable load. Therefore, P in bracket h plus delta L. But we are having the equation strain energy is equal to work done. So strain energy is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume is equal to P plus P is equal to, or P in bracket h plus delta L. मग त्याच्यामध्ये काय केले बघा, delta L term is replaced by sigma L upon AE. Then again it is replaced by, delta L is replaced by PL upon AE. Again it is replaced by sigma L upon E. Okay, I have written all the equations. Then the equation is written in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. The equation is written in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, and your x parameter means your sigma calculation, means your maximum stress calculation. Okay, so the value of A I have written from the above equation, value of B negative, value of C negative, and for the equation ax square plus bx plus c, from that equation if I have to calculate the x parameter, so I am having the formula x is equal to minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So I have kept the value of A, I have kept the value of B, I have kept the value of C along with their sign, positive, negative. I have kept all the values in this equation. I have cancelled the constant parameters which are present at the numerator and the denominator. This is the modified equation. Then I have applied one condition. What is that condition? Multiply by E upon AL. Multiply by E upon AL to the numerator and to the denominator. म्हणजे न्यूमरेटरला पण मी E upon AL ने मल्टिप्लाय केले, डिनॉमिनेटरला पण E upon AL ने मल्टिप्लाय केले. फक्त न्यूमरेटर मध्ये स्क्वेअर रूटच्या टर्म मध्ये मल्टिप्लाय करताना ती टर्म काय होणार आहे? स्क्वेअर होणार आहे. Therefore I have written the square terms. Again, constant terms present at the numerator, denominator, it will get cancelled. Modified equation I have written here. Then as the stress is maximum, we have to consider the positive sign. So here only positive sign is considered, and from this particular term I have taken P upon A as a constant parameter. मग जिथून जिथून तुमचा P upon A बाहेर निघालेला आहे त्या ठिकाणी तुमचं काय राहिलेलं आहे? 1 राहिलेलं आहे. इथं स्क्वेअर रूट मध्ये असताना P स्क्वेअर अपॉन A स्क्वेअर आहे, ते जर बाहेर आलं स्क्वेअर रूटच्या तर काय म्हणून येणार आहे? ओनली P upon A येणार आहे. Therefore here also P square upon A square बाहेर निघालं, 1 राहिलं. But in this particular third term
पी स्क्वेअर अपॉन ए स्क्वेअर इज नॉट प्रेझेंट. त्यामुळं आपण त्या टर्मला काय केले, पी स्क्वेअर अपॉन ए स्क्वेअर काय केले, डिवाइड केले. ती जर टर्म पर न्यूमरेटरला घेतली तर ती काय होणार आहे, ए स्क्वेअर अपॉन पी स्क्वेअर. अगेन पी आणि ए न्यूमरेटर आणि डिनॉमिनेटर मधून कॅन्सल झाले. अँड देन यू विल गेट द इक्वेशन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ this step, and from this you will get one equation in the form of delta L. Delta L is equal to PL upon AE असतं. मग 1 upon delta L म्हणजे काय झालं, AE upon PL. So whatever the AE upon PL term is present in this particular star marked equation, that term is replaced by the delta L, and you will get the formula sigma is equal to P upon A in square bracket plus 1 plus again in square root of 1 plus 2h upon delta L. So this is the sigma formula. So your equation is sigma is equal to P upon A 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2h upon delta L. Here sigma upon A is there. At that time, this is the sigma max, and this P upon A means your sigma in bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2h upon delta L. What I have done, this P upon means I have written the sigma, and whatever the sigma I have calculated, for the sigma I have taken the sigma max. म्हणजे पहिल्या इक्वेशन मध्ये जो आपण सिग्मा काढला होता त्याला मी सिग्मा मॅक्स लिहिलं. Whatever the value is there, P upon A, that P upon A I have written in the form of sigma. Therefore sigma max upon sigma is equal to square 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2h divided by delta L, and the sigma max upon sigma is called as a load factor, which is represented by small n. Please keep in mind, sigma max upon sigma is called as a load factor, but this term is not important to you. We are having the derivation up to this particular sigma formula, that is sigma is equal to P upon A in bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2h upon delta L, and this particular formula represents stress due to impact load. So the first formula whatever we have derived, sigma is equal to P upon A for the gradually applied load, sigma is equal to 2P upon A for the suddenly applied load, and this sigma is equal to P upon A in square bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2h upon delta L. This is the formula for the stress due to the impact load. Procedure is same. Whatever the procedure we have followed for the previous two derivation, that is strain energy is equal to work done. Similarly, here also strain energy is equal to work done. But finally, we got the equation in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, and from that particular equation, we have to calculate the value of x. Means here x is replaced by the sigma, means we have calculated the sigma value, and this is the final derivation or the final formula in front of you. Have you understood? Derivation is lengthy, but it is straightforward. Only steps are more, but otherwise it is very simple for the understanding. Have you got this particular derivation? Stepwise, strain energy is equal to work done, then ax square plus bx plus c, then formula we have used. We have kept all the value of a, b, c, cancel the terms, multiply by e upon al to numerator and denominator, then p upon a taken outside the bracket. Whatever the terms are cancelled, that we have cancelled, and finally we got the equation. This particular derivation I have given in the notes also. You can read from that also. But now, have you understood this particular derivation? Anybody is having any problem? Yes, no one is replying. Don't type your roll numbers for the attendance. Try to give the reply for this particular derivation. Through this particular reply, I can understood that you have no problem. You have understood all the things. I will give the notes of this particular chapter. You can read it once again so you can easily understood. And along with this particular part, I hope everyone has taken this particular derivation in your notebook. Only observe the things, it is not possible to understood. If you will write this particular derivation along with me, or if you understood the things, then you can understood very easily. This particular derivations, whatever the 4 derivations we have discussed, these derivations will be asked for the 7 or 8 marks as a theoretical question. Or sometimes the numericals are also asked based on this particular 3 types, that is sudden, gradually, and the impact load. Okay, so these are the 3 derivations we have discussed. Now we'll start with the numericals. So these are the important formulas. So I request all the students, please take this particular chart in your notebook. So what that particular chart represent, you can see here. First column, serial number. Second column, load type. Whatever the load we are applying, whether that is gradually applied load, whether that is suddenly applied load, whether that is impact load, and whether that shear load. Now here shear is also there, but that shear concept is not in your syllabus. It is removed from your syllabus, but then also we have taken. Okay, so second column, load type. Third column, trace formula. Whatever the 3 formulas we have derived now for the gradually applied load, for the suddenly applied load, and for the impact load, these formulas are written in the column number 3. Second column is load type. Third column, change in length. Delta L is equal to PL upon AE, which is equal to sigma L upon E. Up till now, we have used the formula as a PL upon AE, but in this particular chapter, always we have to use the formula as a delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. Why sigma? Because deformation due to this much amount of stress. Deformation कशामुळे झालेला आहे, तर एवढा amount of stress develop झाल्यामुळे आपल्याला एवढं deformation आलेलं आहे. Therefore, always in this particular chapter, while solving the numericals, always we are using the formula of delta L in the form of sigma L upon E, not PL upon AE. Therefore, write down this particular formulas also. Delta L is equal to sigma L upon E, delta L is equal to sigma L upon E, delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. It is same for all the 3 cases. Only difference is that for the shear, phi L. And fourth column represents the strain energy equation. This strain energy equation is constant for all the 3 cases. You can see U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume. Again for the suddenly applied load, sigma square upon 2E into volume. Again for the impact load, U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume. But for the shear, you can see U is equal to tau square upon 2G into volume, because in the shear, whatever the stress is induced, that stress is shear. Therefore, sigma is replaced by the shear. Sigma represents the linear stress. Tau represents the shear stress. If the shear concept is there, so instead of E, I have to use the capital G. त्यामुळे ज्या ज्या ठिकाणी शियर स्ट्रेस असतो, ज्या ज्या ठिकाणी शियर स्ट्रेन असतो, त्या ठिकाणी आपण कॉन्स्टंट पॅरामीटर कुठला यूज करतो, तर कॅपिटल G. For both the problem, for both the formula structures are same. U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume. Similarly, for the shear, U is equal to tau square upon 2G into volume. So sigma is replaced by tau as a shear stress, and E is replaced by G as a constant parameter. And their deformation here I have written delta L is equal to phi into L. Delta L is equal to phi into L, because we are having the formula shear strain is equal to delta L upon L. That means change in dimensions upon original dimensions, and that delta L means your phi into L. Only I have done the cross multiplication. Stress, tau is equal to P upon A. Tau is equal to P upon A. P represents the shear force and A represents the cross-sectional area. But for the gradually applied load, suddenly applied load, and the impact load, this P represents the axial load applied on the body. You can see here in the figures also. In the gradually applied load, whatever the force is applied, it is applied along the axis in the horizontal direction. You can see in the figure, whatever the load is applied, it is applied along the axis. Therefore, this is the axial force. In this particular, the loading diagram is not given, but in suddenly applied load also, whatever the force is applied, that force is applied along the axis. Similarly, in case of a impact loading condition, whatever the movable load it strikes on the collar, that movable load is also applied along the axis. Along the axis हा फक्त इथं कसा आहे? Vertical आहे. The force is applied along the axis. Therefore, in case of a suddenly, gradually, and the impact load, this capital P represents the axial load or axial force applied on the body. But in case of a shear, tau is equal to P upon A. That P represents the shear force which is parallel to the cross-sectional area. कारण axial force हा कायम cross-sectional area ला काय असतो? Perpendicular असतो, and your shear force is always parallel to the cross-sectional area. So please take this particular chart in your notebook. Through this particular chart, you can solve any type of numerical based on the strain energy and the impact load. Take this particular chart in your notebook immediately. Load type, then stress developed, sigma max or sigma, change in length or change in dimensions, delta L is equal to PL upon AE, which is equal to sigma L upon E. This formula is very important. And strain energy equation, it is constant for all the cases. Sigma square upon 2E into volume. Only for the shear, it is different. So take this particular chart in your notebook. This table or this particular formulas are very, very important. I hope everyone is writing this particular chart, because without this particular chart, it is not possible to solve the numericals. Once we will start the numericals, for your solution, for your calculation part, this chart is very important. If chart is not with you, you are unable to remind the formula sometimes, you are unable to do the calculation. So please take this particular chart in your notebook. I hope everyone is taking this particular chart formulas. I will give 1 minute again. If it is finished, please tell me in the chat box. You have taken this particular chart in your notebook, so I can go further. It is also very simple to remind. Gradually applied load sigma is equal to P upon E. Suddenly applied load sigma is equal to 2P upon A. Impact load sigma is equal to P upon A in bracket 1 plus square root of 1 plus 2H upon delta L. Change in dimension, delta L formula is same for all the three cases. Strain energy formula, it should be at your tip of tongue. U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume. It is same. Only sigma formula is different. Okay. In addition to this, take this remaining two formulas. In the yesterday's lecture, we have discussed about the proof resilience. Proof resilience means maximum strain energy stored in the body within elastic limit. And only strain energy means the amount of energy stored in body within elastic limit is called as a strain energy or resilience. And proof resilience means maximum strain energy stored in the body within elastic limit is called as a proof resilience. Therefore, proof resilience is represented by the Umax, and strain energy or the resilience, it is represented by capital U only. So please take this particular two formulas also. Proof resilience Umax is equal to sigma square max or sigma max square upon 2E into volume. Sigma square max or sigma max square upon 2E into volume. And the second formula, kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 mv square. Kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 mv square. Sometimes mass is not given, the value of P is given and G is given. This is not 9. So this M can be replaced in the form of P upon G. So kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 P upon G into V square. So write down the both formulas for the kinetic energy. 1/2 mv square, and this is the second formula also. Kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 mv square, and proof resonance is equal to U max is equal to sigma max square upon 2E into volume. Okay, finish.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll solve one sample problem. Only one problem we'll solve today, and then we will stop. Okay, this is the problem in front of you. So read the statement carefully before solving the numericals or before reading the statement. Please understand that if the statement is given to you, read the statement carefully and identify the important words. In statement, if gradually applied load is given immediately, you can say that this problem is based on the stress of gradually applied load. If suddenly word is mentioned, then immediately you can say that that particular problem is based on the suddenly applied load. Impact, sometimes the impact load is mentioned, sometimes impact load is not mentioned, but in the statement, falling height, whatever the height is there, that height distance will be given. If height is mentioned in the statement, immediately you have to say that that problem is based on the impact load calculation, because in gradually applied load and the suddenly applied load, the height parameter is totally negligible. It is not considered. The height is considered only in case of a impact load. So now this is the first statement in front of you. So read the statement carefully and identify that whether it is based on the gradually applied load, suddenly applied load, and the impact load. So I will read the statement. Determine the maximum stress and elongation of bar. Determine maximum stress means sigma and elongation means delta L of bar means circular cross section. Bar of 2 meter long and 25 mm diameter. Whatever the bar is there, it is having the two dimensions. Diameter is 25 mm, its length is 2 meter. When an axial pull of 15 kilonewton is applied, when axial force or axial pull of 15 kilonewton is applied, suddenly, you can see here which word is mentioned, suddenly on it, take E is equal to 200 gigapascal. Means one circular bar is there. On that particular circular bar, 15 kilonewton external force is applied. It is applied along the axis and its condition is given. Suddenly means from 0 kilonewton directly load is applied 15 kilonewton, 0 to 15, and due to this particular suddenly applied loading, amount of stress developed in the bar we have to calculate, that is maximum stress, and due to that suddenly applied load, whatever the elongation is taking place, that elongation also we have to calculate. So if I will write down the given parameters, given is equal to length is equal to 2 meter is equal to 2000 mm, diameter is equal to 25 mm, whatever the P is given, it is given 15 kilonewton is equal to 15 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. In bracket write down suddenly applied. Suddenly applied. Then capital E is equal to 200 gigapascal means 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square. And which parameter we have to calculate? Maximum stress means sigma, or I can represent it as a sigma max, and I have to calculate the elongation. So these two parameters I have to calculate. So stress, first parameter, stress due to suddenly applied load. Which formula I have to use? What is the sigma formula for the suddenly applied load? Please tell me.
2P upon A.
Sigma is equal to 2P upon A. By mistakenly, if you have taken only P upon A, that formula will be applicable for the gradually applied load. But in the statement, they have mentioned whatever the 50 kilonewton axial force is applied, it is applied suddenly. Therefore, this word is very important for your further calculation. Therefore, sigma is equal to 2P upon A. Therefore, 2 is as it is P 15 into 10 raised to 3 divided by cross-sectional area pi by 4 into 25 square. Find out the value of sigma. Here sigma is equal to, this is wrong, 611.15 Newton per mm square, right?
61.14.
Yes.
61.11.
61.11 Newton per mm square. This is the correct answer. Try to convert the force in Newton. If you will take the 15 kilonewton as it is, your answer will be wrong. This is the first. Stress due to the suddenly applied load is equal to sigma is equal to 2P upon A. P I have kept, A I have kept, I got the sigma. Then elongation due to suddenly applied load. So we are having the formula sigma is equal to, delta L is equal to sigma L upon E. Delta L is equal to sigma L upon E, because delta L is equal to PL upon AE and sigma is equal to P upon A. Whatever the PL upon AE term is there, and that P upon A is replaced by the sigma. Delta L we have to calculate. Sigma already we have calculated, that is 61.11, means deformation due to the stress we are calculating into length 2000 divided by E 200 into 10 raised to 3. Yes, delta L is equal to 0.611 mm. That means due to the 15 kilonewton suddenly applied load, 61.11 Newton per mm square stress is developed in that particular bar, and due to this particular stress or due to this 15 kilonewton suddenly applied load, 0.61 mm, this much amount of deformation is taking place for that particular circular bar. So I hope everyone has calculated. So read the statement carefully, identify the words, whether suddenly or whether gradually, and for the impact I have told sometimes impact load, that word is also mentioned, or maximum times height, falling height. If this height is mentioned, then we can say that that numerical will be based on the impact load. Okay, so this is the first type of the problem we have solved based on the suddenly applied load. Okay, so with this today we will stop here. Remaining part we will discuss in the next lecture.